Okay, great. Great. Welcome, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us uh, during the weekend. My name is Zach Mbasu, and I am joined in by my colleagues who I would allow them to introduce themselves.
Good day, everybody. My name is Rebecca Vieira. I am the Director of Global Initiatives at PhET Interactive Simulations, and I'm speaking to you from Washington, D.C. We're a team from all around the globe.
Great. Thank you, Rebecca. Shola?
Okay, hi everyone. Shola Olateju here. Also work on the global team to support increased access and the effective use of PhET simulations across the world. It's a pleasure to have you join us.
Great. Thank you so much. And we can also start with you introducing yourself in the chat. Please tell us more about yourself. Tell us your name, where you are joining us from. Tell us what you teach. And also, please share with us what you expect from this session today. Today, we are going to share about the professional development opportunity that we have at PhET. That is part of the active learning in STEM with PhET simulations, interactive simulation specialization. So please introduce yourself in the chat. Type in the chat, tell us your name, tell us where you're joining from, what you teach, and also what you expect to from this session today. Great. I can see a lot of diversity in participants. We have someone from Cambodia. We have an educator, Rajat from Nepal. We also have Emmanuel from Cameroon. We have Salome from Philippines. Great. Thank you so much for joining from around the globe. And please continue introducing yourself in the chat box. So we'll carry on. The goal of today's webinar is one, to help you familiarize with the PhET simulations, especially if you are new to the simulations or you've never used to the simulations. So you're going to at least show you what the simulations are. The second goal is to onboard you to the first course that is part of this sequence of courses that form the active learning in STEM with PhET interactive simulation specialization. And the last goal of today's webinar is to provide you with guidance on how you can be able to register and enroll into the Introduction to PhET Simulations education course that we are going to offer for free for those of you who are interested in doing the course. So I will begin by doing a small introduction about PhET, and then we'll dive into the course itself, share with you the details of the course itself, and then narrow down to the Introduction to PhET Simulations course, which is part of this sequence of courses, and then maybe show you a little bit about how to navigate around the course on Coursera. Great. So starting with the introduction about PhET, PhET was founded back in 2002, and it was founded by Professor Carl Wieman, who won a Nobel Prize in physics, and the Nobel Prize comes with some resources, and he graciously donated his Nobel Prize funds to improve math and science education worldwide through developing of PhET simulations. So PhET is a project that is based at University of Colorado at the Department of Physics. And what we do at PhET is that we create free interactive math and science simulations that are based on education research that informs the development of the simulations. And these simulations, they are very fun. They are very dynamic, and they engage learners through a game-like environment where the learners will do experiments. They explore the simulations. They create their own experiments. They change variables. They move things around and they see the changes that are happening. And as they make those changes, they make discoveries as they use them. So, for example, a student can play with a pendulum lab simulation and discover how the period of that pendulum depends on how long that length of the string is, and also the mass of the object and the force of gravity. So they can change, for example, the gravity of the Earth to the gravity of the Moon, which is something that is not very possible in our actual physical laboratories. And as they do that, they observe how it affects that period of the pendulum. And the goal of this is really to help the learners to learn math and science by doing and not just by hearing. So the learners engage in like productive scientific exploration. They're encouraged to ask questions, to design their own experiments. Teachers can ask the students to predict questions and use evidence from what they are getting from the simulation to refine the concepts they have about science. And one of the core goals is also to aid in understanding of abstract concepts in science and math. So we do have more than 160 simulations that we have, and these simulations are free. They can be accessed on the PhET website. And if you don't know what the PhET website is, my colleague will drop a link to the PhET website so that you can be able to at least experience where to get these simulations from. And these simulations are free. I'll take you to the PhET website shortly. But one important thing is that these simulations are free, and they are free to students, they are free to teachers, and they are open educational resources. And they can also be available offline for those who struggle with internet in the spirit of making it more accessible. Also, for teachers, for you to make the most out of these simulations, we encourage that you create a free account on the PhET website in order to have access to the teacher tips, which are only accessible if you create an account. You also have access to lessons that have been created by other teachers and other resources and alignment materials that have been developed to help you either adapt or get inspiration so that you can be able to use these PhET simulations. So I'm going to take you to the PhET website and show you a bit about the simulations, how to access those simulations. So I'm going to open my browser. Okay, great. So so if you go to the link that has been dropped in the chat, this is where you're going to get the PhET website. This is the PhET website. And then this is the site where you can access the simulations. And you can see here we have a few tabs, the simulations tab, the teaching tab, research tab, and initiatives. And then we have simulations in math, we have simulations in physics, chemistry, biology, and earth science. And we have over 1.5 billion simulations runs since the beginning of development of the PhET simulations. And these simulations have been translated into different languages. And also, we also have teachers who develop lessons and activities, and they share these activities on the PhET website. So as a teacher, you can be able to access over these 3,000 teacher-developed activities. Then again, for those who struggle with the internet connectivity, we also have an offline version. So if you go down here and click offline access, it takes you to a page where you can be able to access the PhET simulations offline. So first, you can be able to download a desktop app and then install it on your computer. And once you do that, you have the simulations, all the HTML file simulations downloaded on your computer. And then you no longer need internet to be able to access that. The other way to access the PhET simulations is also through an app. So if you go to App Store or Play Store, you can be able to access the PhET simulation app. I don't know if you can see on my screen. I also have a phone that I've installed the PhET app, and I can be able to access those simulations offline via the app. So coming back to the website, we have this simulation link. So if you want to access the simulation link, you do that by clicking on the simulations, and then you'll get a list of all the simulations that have been developed by PhET simulations. So this is the whole list of the PhET simulations, and you can be able to filter these simulations by subject. So for example, if I want to filter by physics, I can click that, and this is what I get. I can filter by math, so that I just get the math simulations alone. I can also filter by chemistry, biology, and earth science. Also, we have categorized these simulations. We have these simulations available for different grade levels. We have simulations for foundational learning. We have simulations for high school, and we also have simulations at university level. We have converted most of the simulations to HTML5 to just ensure that they are accessible via things like mobile devices and tablets. And then we recognize that we also have learners who have special needs. And we have inclusive features like alternative input, camera input, sound and sonification, interactive description, and many others, just to make sure that these simulations are accessible to learners with special needs. Again, as I mentioned before, these simulations are translated in different languages, including languages in Asia, languages in native languages in Africa, again, to ensure accessibility of these simulations. So before I dive into maybe one simulation, just to mention that if you want to learn more about teach activities, or you want to learn about research that has been done with the PhET simulations, these tabs are the ones that you go to. But most importantly, I wanted to mention this part here, which allows you to create your own account as an educator in order to access the teacher tips, to access the other lesson activities that have been developed by other teachers. So I would encourage you that if you have not created an account, please make sure that you create an account to allow you to make the most use out of these simulations. So I will demonstrate one simulation. Let me choose an elementary one, number play, so that I can just show you how you access the simulation and also how you access the resources that come with the simulation. So before going to the simulation itself, I'll show you a bit down at the bottom below the simulation itself, you have the About section. And this About section gives you ideas of topics that you can be able to either teach or learn using this particular PhET simulation called number play. And then we also have suggested sample learning goals. Of course, you can be creative enough and use and come up with your own learning goals about this. So you're not limited to just these simulations. I mean, these learning goals that have been highlighted here. The next tab is the teaching resource tab, which is the teacher tips. And this gives you guidance and gets you started on how you can be able to use this simulation. It shows you what are the different components of the simulation, what do the different screens mean, and also suggestions for use of this simulation. Then we have the activities tab, and this one gives you access to lesson plans and activities, worksheets that have been developed by other educators for you to get an inspiration from, one, and two, you can use some of these materials depending on the learning goal that you're able to address using this simulation. I will not go into the translations because I've already mentioned that before. So also here, you can see this tab. You can be able to download this simulation and have it on your device or phone. I've seen some educators and teachers download this file and share on WhatsApp via WhatsApp groups for those teachers who do not have access to the internet connectivity. And then this one allows you to embed this simulation in any platform, including different learning management systems. So this simulation, in order to access it, you click on it, and it's going to display different screens that will allow you to explore the simulation. So for this particular simulation, it has 4 screens. We have the first screen, which is 10, and allows you to teach learners or learners to learn about numbers, basically up to 10. This one 20, and then we have games and a lab for this. But let me just go to this first screen and show you how this simulation looks like. So this first screen allows you to put numbers here, for example, and you can expand here to show the word format of that number. And it also has a 10 frame. And then down here, a learner can choose, for example, if they want a puppy or they want an apple or butterfly, an object of their choice. So you can be able to just like put numbers on the screen and be able to facilitate a very nice number lesson using this simulation. You can move things around. For example, you can, just stack this together. And as you stack them or you reduce these numbers, you can see the change that is happening on the number itself here. And then again, the value itself here and what is also happening on the 10 frame. So, and then also it has like a voiceover. So if you're on your machine, if you click here, you can hear a voice that is saying that number 8. So that also helps with some of the learners who might benefit from hearing the voice in addition to the simulation itself. So this is an example of a foundational learning simulation that I have demonstrated here. Just going back, I can just go back here and so that you see a list of the other simulations. And I encourage you, if you have the website link, I encourage you to go to any simulation of your choice. Go to any simulation of your choice, play with it, play around with it, play around with it and try and discover one thing from that simulation, and maybe share with us what is your favorite part of that simulation, or share just one discovery that you've made about the simulation that you have selected. So go to the PhET website. The link is shared in the chat. Select one simulation. I'll give you 2 minutes to play around with that simulation and share in the chat one thing that you have discovered about that simulation, or one thing that you feel that is really favorite about your simulation. Oh, great. I see Rajat Thapa says, I really like the balancing lever simulation and the nuance with the lens and mirrors to demonstrate reflection and refraction. He also, Rajat also says, additionally, I absolutely love the waves simulation. Thank you, Rajat, for sharing that. Please keep on exploring the simulation as you explore, just like Rajat has done. Drop in the chat box why you like that simulation, one discovery that you've made about the simulation that you have explored. I will stop sharing my screen and just check in the chat. Okay, we have more coming in. Renante says, I use the simulation on factors affecting average global temperature. Salome says, I love the buoyancy. That is clear concept for the learner. Great. I really like the electric circuit. I tried the projectile simulation on physics. Great. A lot of feedback coming from you about the simulations that you like. So let's carry on. Okay, so you have had a chance to play with the simulation, and some of you have obviously used these simulations before, and some of you maybe are experiencing this simulation for the first time right now, and you've had a chance to play with these simulations. I just want to know from you, what do you think are the benefits of using these PhET simulations in your lessons? What are the benefits of using these PhET simulations in your lessons? You can type in the chat box. You can also request to unmute and maybe verbalize your reason for using these PhET simulations and the benefits of using these simulations in your lessons. Oh, great. We have some feedback. Salome says, it helps us engaging the students' participation throughout the discussion. Great. Mohammed says, I believe students can see physically via simulation that how the science can be applicable in real world. Great. It makes teaching and learning simple. Uchechuku, I hope I pronounce your name well. Ensures concepts building of simple to complex ideas with safety. Great. Lovely feedback from all of you. Tabot says, I love the Rutherford scattering simulation, which brings out the real nature of the particles movement from the abstractness. Great. So clearly, there are benefits of using PhET simulations in the lessons. Simulations encourage students to explore. Learners are able to experiment. They're able to discover. And it really fosters like an active learning process. Also, the fact that these simulations are free and they're also available online and offline It means that they are accessible to a wide range of learners regardless of their background. And also they are really flexible teaching tools that can be used in various educational settings. You can use it in a whole class learning. You can use it in a remote learning environment. So this just makes sure that at least students from different age groups and educational stages can be able to benefit from these PhET simulations. And also the representation and visualization obviously has been mentioned. I'm not going to repeat that. Okay, great. Now, just having the simulations alone does not guarantee that learners are going to learn. The simulations are not like a one-in-all solution for independent learning. And just like any other technological tool or any other tool, even non-technological tools, simulations are most effective when they are combined with an effective teacher facilitation. And also this teacher or educator needs to also carefully design activities that are going to make sure that the learner is benefiting the most as they use this simulation. So teacher facilitation really helps students to connect with the simulation to the real world, as someone mentioned earlier. The teacher can also guide them through a complex task and also provide feedback depending on how this learner is interacting with the simulation. And then the activities, if they are carefully designed, they ensure that students engage with the simulation in a meaningful way and in a way that really promotes deep understanding and development of the skill and the competences that you as an educator, you want this student to be able to achieve. So the reason why we are doing, we offer the course and offer the workshop and offer the specialization is to bring these three things together. We have the PhET simulation, and then you have your teaching strategies and pedagogies, and then we combine it with designing of good activities that will encourage deep understanding and deep learning from the learner. So effective teachers will typically use a variety of strategies when they're using the PhET simulations. And also depending on the teaching context, teachers might want to use simulations in which, like as a teacher, you have more control. Maybe you're presenting during a whole class setup, you have 100 students, 200 students in front of you, and maybe you just have a laptop or a computer in front of you and a projector, so you have more control. Or you are in a setup where each learner might have a device, a tablet or a phone, or a way of accessing the simulation. So you might decide to use different approaches. And in this course specialization, we cover these suggested teaching strategies and methods that you can be able to use to make to help the learners to engage in the best way. So now, going specific to the specialization, and you might be wondering, what is this active learning in PhET with STEM interactive simulation specialization? This is an opportunity for you to learn about PhET simulations through Coursera. And we also offer free resources through this course. And also we introduce the pedagogies that you can use to teach math and science. So the specialization has a sequence of 4 courses. And for today, we are going to focus on this particular one course, Introduction to PhET Simulations for STEM education. And this sequence is helpful to both to those who have used PhET before and those who have never used PhET before. So the course is hosted on Coursera, and it empowers you to learn deeply about these PhET promoted strategies as you go through the course. And this course is aimed at educators who are oriented towards primary school or secondary school teaching, and also anyone who is interested in just learning about the different strategies that you can be able to use these PhET simulations. All you need is an internet connection in order for you to access Coursera. And you can access the course, the whole specialization, for free when you're auditing the course at no cost. But if you want a certificate by going through the course, then you'll have to pay a small fee. So if you enroll in this course, you're given an opportunity to interact with the simulations. You watch videos, you read articles, and also contribute to discussion forums. You're also given an opportunity to do assignments and also to peer review those assignments, of course, with support from PhET staff. Now, this course allows you to learn at your own pace, which means that if you're all on the course, you can decide to learn at your own time and at your own pace, and then finally earn a certificate once you're able to complete that course. Now, this course is offered in two categories. We have a public session, which you can just audit the course and not get a certificate, or you can decide to pay a fee, and then once you pay the fee and you complete the course, then you get a certificate. Now, the reason for this session is to introduce you to the private course, which we are offering for free, which means that you are not required to make a payment to be able to access the first course of this specialization. So these are the four courses. We have Introduction to PhET Simulation for STEM Education, and this course is being offered for free. We have another sequence of 3 courses, which will be available after you complete this first course, but those ones, for you to earn a certificate, then you'll have to pay. So the other 3 courses are whole class with PhET for STEM education. We also have activity design with PhET simulations for STEM education. And then the final course is implementation of PhET activities for STEM education. So this sequence of courses allows you to progressively become familiar with the simulations, excuse me, pick strategies to use with the simulations, and then try implementing these simulations in your own classroom. So we are going to share in the chat box, we are going to share a registration form for you to express interest to participate in the free course, which is the Introduction to PhET Simulations for STEM Education. My colleague is going to drop that link in the chat box. And you have this opportunity to join this English language private version of the first course, complete it successfully, and earn a certificate for free. So if you want to do that, please make sure that you register, and all we need in that registration form is your full name, and that full name will appear on the certificate, and also the email address. And the reason for us requiring the email address is so that we can use that email address to invite you to the private course. And then we have a syllabus, which we are going to share with you. And then as soon as you receive that email, the invite email, then you'll get onto Coursera and then be able to progress through the course. We will also share with you a frequently asked questions document that will be linked in the syllabus, so that it can help you in case you get stuck or to troubleshoot yourself, in addition to the support that we will be giving you. So this private course starts immediately after this webinar. As soon as you fill that form, once we complete this webinar, we'll send the invites to everyone who has registered, and then you'll begin doing that course immediately. And that registration ends in April 4th, 2025. I'm just going to pause here and check in the chat box, or just check whether we have a question that is related to this before I can proceed. Okay, great. There are some great questions in the chat. So the first question I see is from Francis. His question is, do we need to create an account in Coursera right now? Very good question. So the course is offered on Coursera. So the first thing, you'll receive an invitation email, and that email is going to guide you on how to join that particular course that you've been invited on. If you have a Coursera account, you can use your existing Coursera account to log into Coursera and just proceed with the course. If you do not have a Coursera account, you'll be required to create an account on Coursera and then log into that account. And then using the course invite that you have invited, you'll be able to go directly to that course. Great. I'm done with someone says I'm done with the registration. Great, thank you. Appreciation. Okay. There's another great question here in the chat. Says, what is the fee for the certificate? So this first course, which is part of a sequence of these 4 courses, Introduction to PhET simulations for STEM education, is free. Once you enroll, successfully complete the course, you'll earn that certificate for free. Now, for you to go through the other sequence of courses, you'll be required to join the public version of the course. And that course, that full sequence of courses is $49. Then registration done. Great. There's another question. Is it Coursera? Yes, it is Coursera. Great. Okay. So let me proceed. Okay, great. Now let's dive into like the details of this particular first part of the specialization course, which is Introduction to PhET Simulations for STEM Education. So this is the first course which we are offering you for free, and it helps you find the perfect simulation for your subject area or the learning goal that you're teaching. You're also going to learn about the inclusive features, such as the alternative input, the sound and sonification, camera input, and also you are also going to learn about the helpful teacher tips that come with the simulations to really help you. So the objectives of this particular course is for you to effectively access the relevant PhET simulations that promote equity through your teaching and learning. Then you'll discover what makes these simulations really unique, because students like them, educators like them. Why are they powerful tips for teaching and learning math and science concepts? So you're going to discover what makes those PhET simulations really unique. And then you're going to have access to the PhET simulation website, and then you'll have an opportunity for you to register on the website in order to access the full benefits of being a registered teacher, which include having access to the teacher tips and also having access to the teacher developed activities and lesson plans that you can get an inspiration from. And then you will get an opportunity to find and review simulations and the teacher tips and also the videos. And then lastly, you're going to see how you can be able to integrate those simulations in your, whether it's PowerPoint or whether you are including it in a learning management system like Google Classrooms and so forth. So that guidance is in that particular course. Then you'll have an opportunity to do an assignment, which is basically selecting a PhET simulation that is aligned to your own learning goal, and then being able to come up with ways that you're going to facilitate a lesson and an activity using these PhET simulations. So after completing this course, what do you get? One, you will interact with numerous PhET simulations. You'll watch the videos, you'll read articles, and you'll also contribute to the discussion forums. You'll also complete peer review assignments, and you'll also complete your own assignments, of course. And then you'll also learn at your own pace. And finally, you're going to earn a certificate with the Coursera emblem and the signatures from the PhET team after successfully completing all the required activities in this course, including the assignment. This is how the certificate looks like. Beautiful certificate. It will have your name. That red part there will have your name. It will have the name of the course, Introduction to PhET Simulations for STEM Education, and is a certificate that also has the Coursera emblem. So then, after completing that first part of the course, which is Introduction to PhET Simulations for STEM Education, what comes next? I mentioned that the specialization has a sequence of 4 courses, and each course progressively helps you to become familiar with the simulations, pick some specific strategies to use with the simulations, try to implement that activities that you've developed, whether it's a lesson plan or an activity, implement it in an actual classroom setup, and then get a chance to be able to reflect. So once you finish the first free course that we've given you, you now have an opportunity to go to the next sequence of courses, which is secondly, whole class with PhET for STEM education. The third course is activity design with PhET simulations for STEM education. And the last course is implementation of PhET activities for STEM education. Now, this course was opened January 2024, and over 11,800 teachers have enrolled in the PhET Coursera courses since their launch. And they have completed at least one or more of the 15-hour courses of that. And over 1,000 have completed the entire sequence of the courses. And again, this specialization is available in English. It is also available in Spanish for those who speak Spanish. And it is also available in Portuguese. So I will take you through a small practice session. So once you register on the form that we've shared in the chat, we are going to send you a course invite email. And this course invite email, I'm going to show you how it looks like. And when you get to the link, it takes you to this page that allows you to join this course. It gives you the instructions on how to join that particular course. So I'll stop sharing my screen and then share my browser to show you how you'll get the email that you'll get, and then how you progress to go directly to that particular course. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen to show you an example of how. So this is my email, and at the top here, you see I've received an email invitation from Coursera, and this email, when I open it, this is how it looks like. And when you open this email, you're going to see this particular message here. And all you need to do is to join group. And when you join group, it is going to take you directly to the Coursera. Because I already have a Coursera account, I'm not required to create another Coursera account. So all I need to do is to accept the invitation. So I click accept invitation. And then it will tell me, it's going to give me a prompt that I've successfully joined this introduction to PhET simulations for STEM education. And then I can click continue. So when I click continue, it takes me right into the course itself. And this is how you're going to see the course appearing as a learner. So this course has got 7 modules. We have module 1 to module 7. And each module has got a learning objective at the top. So for example, here, these are the learning objectives for the whole course. And then as I go down here, I can get started with the welcome message. When I click on that, it's going to take me to the welcome message. And then I take a pre-survey course, and then I start learning on the course. And this is how the content looks like. You'll get some reading to do. For example, here is some reading that you're supposed to do. Then as soon as you're done with that reading, you'll be expected to mark it as complete. And then you go to the next item. And the next item is basically a video. I'll not play the whole of it, but just to show you that you then have access to a video. And then in addition to that, you can get readings, further readings for you to continue reading. And then we also have things like discussion prompts that you will engage in. And as soon as you're done with that, you'll go to the next module, which is you'll go to exploring PhET simulations. And then you'll go to the subsequent activities. So you make sure that at least you're navigating through these activities and making sure that you do the readings, you watch the videos. If there are prompts, assignments, you do the assignments. And then if you are supposed to submit something, you submit it. If you're supposed to do peer review, you make sure that you do all those peer reviews. So I'm just going to again pause here to see if there are questions from the audience about what I have shared about the course. I'll stop sharing my screen now. Does anyone have a question or regarding the sharing that I've done?
Zach, we have a question from Valerie about what is peer review?
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Valerie. A good question about peer review. So I mentioned that as you do the course, you're going to have an opportunity to do assignments. So for example, the first assignment in the first course is selecting a PhET simulation that aligns to your learning goal. And then in that assignment, you're expected to complete, for example, what is the learning objective? What simulation have you identified? The link to that simulation, and then with some other details. So once you've filled that template that is shared on the platform, you'll submit that template as your assignment submission. After you have submitted that assignment on the platform, of course, you'll expect that you'll need some feedback on that particular assignment submission. So instead of the course facilitators reviewing that submission, it is your fellow course participants who will do a review of your work. And you'll be expected that once you have submitted, you also do a review of 3 submissions from different students. You'll be prompted by the Coursera system for you to do a review of the work that other participants have done. And equally, the other participants will do a review of the work that you've done. So that is what peer review is. Great. Dr. Smriti asks, how much time will it take to the invitation to the course to come through the email? Great question. So immediately after this, for those who have already completed the registration form, immediately after we are done with this webinar, we will send that course invite. So you should get it within 10 or 20 minutes after this webinar. You'll get that invitation email, and then you get on the course. We'll keep that registration form open just to allow maybe your colleagues who are not aware and they want to join in the course. You can share with them the link. So we'll keep on sending those course invites on a daily basis so that they get an opportunity to enroll on the course. Great. Great. Valerie says, thanks for the peer review explanation, but can inexperienced learner access a review by a peer? Oh, that's a very good question. So we have a rubric that guides anyone who is new to doing reviews. We have specific things that we specifically ask any participant to look for in that assignment. And it could be, for example, the first assignment could be like, does it have a learning objective, for example? Does it have a link to the PhET simulation? And it is like a yes or no. And then you have an opportunity at the bottom there to give some detailed feedback depending on how you've done the review. So the minimum requirements, we have a rubric that gives guidance to those who are not experienced giving reviews. And they just check like, is the simulation existing? Does it align to the learning goal? Yes or no. If it is a yes, then you're good. If it is a no, then you're given feedback for you to improve on it. There's a question, I have enrolled on the free course. Should I receive a confirmation email? So I suggest that right now you wait after we finish this webinar. In about 20 minutes after we finish the webinar, for all those who have registered, we will send an invitation email to you and use that email to register on the course. That will give you direct free access to the course so that you can be able to access that course for free. Telly says, could you please send me the enrollment link again? My colleague will share the link again. We'll drop a link in the chat to the form. And that registration link is really asking for 2 things. Basically, your email, your name as you want it to appear on the certificate. And then secondly, your email address. And we'll use that email address to invite you on the course. Great. Thank you so much. The link is shared in the chat box.
And I just wanted to share, I did actually, Zach, I was just able to upload everybody. So if people registered more than a minute ago, they should actually now have an invitation coming to them. Of course, it might take a couple minutes to get through to their email, but people should have access.
Great. Thank you so much, Rebecca.
I have another
Valerie has
question
a
from Valerie.
yes. Valerie has a great question there. That perusing the PhET seems, I noticed that not all topics in physics are covered, and is there a special access link to gain a wide array of topics, for example, gas laws? Okay, that's a great question. So first, we have very many simulations. However, we don't have simulations for all the topics in your curriculum. So it is upon you to look through the simulations and try to see, does that simulation that speaks to the topic that you want to teach exist or not? But specifically for gas laws, we do have simulations for gas laws. And if you miss them in physics, maybe you'll find them in chemistry, but we do have simulations in gas laws. However, again, I want to mention that we do not have simulations for all the topics in your curriculum. Great. Simeon Chiesu says, how much time should one dedicate daily to complete the first course? Great question. So the course is 15 hours. 15 hours, and it's upon you, like how much time you have available daily that you can dedicate towards the course. I think what makes most people successful in like completing is being consistent. If you choose 1 hour daily, maybe you can choose that 1 hour daily and do it consistently over a period of time. Some people choose to do it 2 hours. Others choose to dedicate 5 hours or 10 hours in a day, and then they go through the course. And also, it also depends on your own pace. If you like you're getting through and powering through those activities, you might take actually less hours. I asked a question and you responded by asking me a question on my location.
I'm helping Weston. It's okay. I'll address that one. So Weston is in Malawi, and I think the original question was, does PhET do anything in person? And the answer is sometimes. So we have a really wonderful group of people called PhET Fellows who have gone through it's like a training and leadership experience for like a year and a half. We have 2 PhET Fellows in Malawi, Grace Daka and Cosmos Katumba, and they're on the link that I shared there with Weston and with everyone else. So I can't promise that fellows are absolutely going to be available, but sometimes they're excited to do things with groups of teachers in their country. So if you do have questions about like maybe getting in contact with somebody, we have a website, or we have an email called phetglobal at colorado.edu, and you can always send us an email to ask. We do not have PhET fellows. We don't have specifically PhET fellows in Manila, but we do have 3 amazing super user contacts, and they might be willing to do workshops because they have before. So oftentimes, if you're looking for somebody, we can reach out to people that we know have used PhET a lot, and they might be willing to do something. We do not have an active PhET Fellow program outside of the United States right now, so unfortunately that's not available. It all depends upon whenever we get international funding to do these things. I know, one thing I wanted to share is PhET is a nonprofit. We're part of a public university. The public university, however, does not fund our work. All of our work is supported by international donors, and so the programs we're able to do all depend upon the support that we receive internationally. So sometimes we'll have programs, but sometimes they won't happen the next year. They might come back later, things like that. So I hope that is helpful.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Rebecca, and for all the wonderful questions. Yes, Shaima, you can copy the links. Rebecca, would you mind dropping the links again in the chat so that
let's see, Shaima, I don't know if you haven't been able to click on the links. If you let me know what you're looking for, I can help you. I've shared quite a few different links. The most important one is probably registering for the course, but if there's something else that you wanted, please let me know.
Okay, great, thank you. Now we have come to the end of this webinar, so I would like to really appreciate everyone for participating in this webinar and for asking really good questions, and also for enrolling on the course. We want all of you to enroll on the course and also encourage your colleagues to also be part of the course, since we are also offering it for free. And we'll be more than happy to give you support on the course and make sure that you make the most out of the course. So I would like us to end there. I will remain here for a few more minutes just to address further questions. Otherwise, you're free to leave. And thank you so much for creating the time to join this webinar.
I see there's a few more questions. So we are recording, or we did record, and in fact, we will be sharing that recording. We'll do a follow-up email, which can include this recording as well as all of those links. I saw a couple questions. I think it may have been addressed, but you have until early April to complete the course, and that whole time the course is free. So it's not necessary. You're not going to be using a trial. The free trial is for the other courses if you don't want to or are not able to pay. If you are just taking this first course and are registering through us, there's the only time limit is the time limit of the actual course. So you have the whole time to figure that out. People are asking about the PhET Fellowship. Unfortunately, the PhET Fellowship has been offered in the past to countries in Africa, to countries in Latin America. We've never had one in Asia or Europe, although we do collaborate with something called the Ogden Trust in England for some people who have a different kind of fellowship. And now we have one in the United States. So the only one that's actively funded is in the United States. We hope to be able to expand the program in the future. Looks like we have a question from Salome Zach.
Right, Salome, what if we missed one or two courses? Can we not get a certificate? So the specialization has got 4 courses. The first course that you're being offered for free, once you complete all the activities, assignments, readings, watching videos, peer reviews, you will get a certificate. And if you go to the next sequences and you do the same, you get a certificate for each of those courses. And then as soon as you complete all the 4 courses, you have a general certificate for the validating the 60 hours for doing all the sequence of 4 courses. So you get certificate for individual courses, but you also get an overall certificate for the whole sequence. There's another question. So the course that we have registered has time to finish until April 4th. You can finish the course depending on your pace, but the course registration is open up to April 4th. Would you mind assisting us with your expertise in building a strong PhET fellow here in Malawi? We actually have 2 PhET fellows in Malawi, and I'm happy to link you up with them. If we get your details, we can be able to link you up with the 2 wonderful PhET fellows from Malawi, and you can join hands with them. This is an appreciation. I remember I started this first course, but I never completed due to loss of my computer. What happens when I enroll again? Will I start afresh or resume from where I ended? So if we invite you on this particular course, you'll have to start from the beginning. It's the same content, so I'm assuming you'll really power through very fast and be able to do to do that course. Great to see you, Shad from Libya. Salome says, so it depends on the course that we've done. Yes, it does. And then, is there equally a possibility for a teacher to have a scholarship to take a master in education online? That's also a good question. So Coursera offers courses from different institutions, and most of those courses you'll have to part with something in order to be able to do those courses online. But in terms of University of Colorado offering scholarships, that is a different section of the university, and I would encourage you to go to the university website and see the information that is there about scholarship and how to do a master's in the course that you're wanting to do. Is it advisable to sign in with Google account or to do new registration with Coursera? So with the registration form, you'll give us your name and your functioning email address. We will use the email address to send you an invite to the course. Once you get that invite, you'll click on it and it will either prompt, if you have an existing Coursera account, you'll go directly to the course. If you don't, it will prompt you to create an account on Coursera. And that is how you'll access, through that account is how you'll access the course that we are offering. Just checking if there are questions. Great. Some of you are already on it, and I'm excited about it. Okay. If you drop your name and maybe phone number or email address in the chat, I can link you to the PhET Fellows in Malawi. Alternatively, you can send an email with your details, and then I can link you.
I've just sent the phetglobal@colorado.email address. It would be much better, I think, for you to send an email because a number of people have been dropping their email address here, but we're not going to be able to save the chat. There's a lot of messages, so please send us an email at phet-global. It's what I just put in the chat. Shaima, for the Gulf countries, we've actually never had any workshops in the Gulf countries. We have had some in Northern Africa, but not in the Gulf countries. If you are interested in sharing this opportunity, we encourage everybody to share about the virtual workshop. Occasionally we have done in-person workshops upon request, but typically we need international support in order to be able to travel or to send a PhET fellow to events and things. So feel free to write to us at phet-global@colorado.edu. Okay, I don't see any questions anymore.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for your wonderful questions. And we are looking forward to seeing you on the course. And please share with your colleagues. Anyone who would like to do the course is welcome to join the course. Thank you so much for joining, and see you on the course.